So today, let's dive into this pretty radical idea about discipline. What if I told you the secret to actually getting stuff done has nothing to do with motivation? What if it's all about learning to love the struggle? We're going to break down a whole playbook for basically rewiring your brain when it comes to hard work. All right, let me ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself here. Think about it. When things get even a little bit tough, or heck, even just a little boring, what's that gut reaction? What's your first move? Do you actually lean into it, or do you reach for that distraction? And that instinct? That's what brings us to our first big idea here. We are, at our core, wired to just run away from discomfort. It's natural. We avoid the struggle. But here's the kicker. By doing that, we're actually dodging the one and only path to real progress. And what's wild is how low that bar for frustration has gotten. I mean, we're not talking about facing some huge, life-altering challenge here. The source we're looking at points out that most of us can't even handle a few seconds of boredom without whipping out our phones. And that constant noise, that never-ending stream of stuff, it's literally stealing the quiet time our brains need to do any real deep thinking. Okay, so what's the solution? Well, it's gonna sound completely backwards. Instead of running away from the hard stuff, you gotta actively go looking for it. Seriously, you have to train your mind, think of it like a muscle, to not just put up with the struggle, but to actually start enjoying it. All right, that sounds great in theory, right? Seek discomfort. But how do you actually do that? How do you make it a real strategy? Well, the source argues that for most of us, failure isn't about a lack of willpower. It's simpler than that. It's a lack of a plan. We're just drifting, totally aimless. And the plan itself? It's beautiful in its simplicity. Step 1, you write it down. And I don't mean some vague idea in your head. I mean a specific, concrete schedule. Step 2, you force yourself to do it. Period. No excuses, no negotiating with yourself. And then step 3, after you've done it, you find a tiny way to make it just a little bit harder next time. You add one more rep, a few more minutes, you write one more sentence. So check this out. This is what a real, no-nonsense plan looks like. It's not some fluffy goal like work out more. Nope. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is exactly what I am doing. And that last bit, even if it takes all day, man, that's the whole game right there. The commitment is to finishing the task, not to how you feel about it or how long it takes. This is such a simple idea, but it's also incredibly powerful. We spend so much time waiting around for someone else, a boss, a coach, whatever, to tell us what to do. This whole concept flips that on its head. It says you don't need to wait for anyone. You have total authority to be your own drill sergeant, to give yourself the orders, and to make sure the job gets done. Okay, so you've got your plan. You're ready to go. But then, what happens? That little voice in the back of your head starts whispering. The doubt creeps in. Can I really do this? Am I actually capable of this? So what do you do then? And that thought right there, that is the killer. It stops so many people dead in their tracks before they even start. It's that nagging fear about our own limits, right? That little bit of uncertainty. Am I strong enough for this? And it feels like a real question. Like we need an answer before we can take the first step. But check out the answer the source gives us. It's so simple, it's almost genius. That question, can I do it, is answered the second you start the action. The moment you are doing the thing, the question just evaporates. It's totally irrelevant. Why? Because you are doing it, so of course you can do it. The proof is right there in the doing. Okay, so this leads us to a really, really important fork in the road. We have to ask ourselves, is it always a lack of discipline that's stopping you? Or is it sometimes just a massive, profound lack of interest? Just think about the difference for a second. Let's say you're trying to force yourself to study electrical engineering, but you hate it. That takes this enormous, soul-crushing amount of discipline, right? It's a constant battle. But then you look at someone who spends 8 hours a day practicing golf. They don't call that discipline. That's passion. It's a drive. It's an obsession. It's not a chore. And that's a huge light bulb moment. Sometimes what we call a discipline problem is really just an interest problem. And I love this quote because it nails what that kind of passion looks like to everybody else. From the outside, that level of obsession, that drive for greatness, it can look a little crazy. To get that good at something, you often have to be so focused that you're literally ignoring other parts of your life just to pour all of yourself into that one thing. So you might be thinking, why? Why on earth would anyone choose to do this? Why pick the hard road and embrace all that struggle?
Well, because the payoff, the reward you get at the end, is something you literally can't get any other way. It's unique.
See, when you consistently choose to do the hard stuff, you set off this amazing chain reaction, this positive feedback loop. The hard work, that leads to you actually getting better. And getting better, well, that leads to success, even if it's just small wins at first. And those wins, they build this real, rock-solid confidence and a deep understanding of what you can actually do.
And this gets at a very specific, unique kind of satisfaction. You know that feeling? The one you only get after you finish something that you knew was going to be difficult? You chose to do it because it was hard. You can't buy that feeling. Nobody can just hand it to you. It has to be earned, one tough step at a time. And this all boils down to the central idea, a quote made famous by Jocko Willink. On the surface, it sounds like a total contradiction, but it's so, so true. The discipline to make a plan, to do the work, to tell your lazy impulses no, that is what gives you real freedom. It's the freedom to hit your goals, to build the life you actually want, and to stop being a slave to how you feel in the moment. So, at the end of the day, it really all comes down to this one question. Now that you know that growth and confidence and true freedom are just waiting for you on the other side of a challenge, what struggle are you going to choose? What hard path are you going to decide to walk down starting right now?